going to go out on a limb and say that most people in the audience might be over the age of 22. Now, if this is the case, what if I told you if you're over the age of 22, you're now going to need to leave this learning space because it's only for individuals 21 years old and younger? Kind of outrageous, right? However, this is the message that a large sector of a particular population of our citizens hears every day. And who might they be? Individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, or IDD. The World Health Organization reports that 1.3 billion, or 16% of the global population, report living with a significant disability. And for these individuals with IDD, there's an abrupt transition that happens at this age of 22 almost universally that closes the door on authentic educational opportunities. Now, I'd like you to imagine a morning where a 32-year-old man with autism and limited verbal capabilities rises to check his Tuesday schedule of college classes, which consists of digital arts, Spanish, and pound fitness. His professor is also waking to get ready, and he happens to have a non-apparent disability. He's quite grateful that his transportation to his job is being underwritten by his employer. Also, the same morning, the community college students are rising, ready to head to their college campus full of excitement that they may cross paths with their fellow students going to their adaptive learning hub located in the center of their college campus. This isn't a dream. It's very much happening today in a community college in Saratoga, California. I'd like to share with you my personal story of how this higher education revolution reimagines possibilities for lifelong collegiate opportunities. So as I think back on my life's moments, most impactful moments of what have gotten me to where I am today, they often involve my sister, Angel. Angel is my life soulmate, roughly 1 year my junior, and she happens to have Down syndrome. So Angel's birth was quite a jolt. She was born on a warm summer morning in the state of Indiana in the Midwest in the United States in 1973. As soon as she was delivered, she was whisked out of the room. Roughly 10 minutes later, the doctors came back to inform my parents that Angel would never be able to walk or talk or clothe or feed herself because she had Down syndrome, and the professional recommendation was that she be immediately placed in an institution. Certainly, the doctor did not appreciate the fierce spirit of my mother, Jill, who demanded to see her baby. When a warm pink bundle was deposited back into her arms, my mom counted 10 soft fingers and toes, looked the doctor squarely in the eye and said, "Thank you so much. I will be taking my baby home." So that day forever changed the trajectory of my life as well as the life of our families. Little Angel indeed learned how to sit up, and she learned how to crawl and to walk, and she became an integral and beloved member of our family. And come to find out, she's the member of our family that talked the most. My mom would share the time that she took Angel as a young teenager to their local church on a Wednesday night for Bible study class. As the group said individual prayers, my sister patiently waited for her turn and proceeded to pray very loudly and very clearly, "Dear Lord, please help my mom stop cussing." So, as engaging it was growing up with such a joyful sister, there came a period in her life and our family's lives when joy seemed so very distant. Can you take a guess what year she had turned? Yep, you guessed it, 22 years old. Did you know that in the United States, in all 50 states, by law, students in the special education system are mandated out of the school system at age 21 or 22. During this time, which we commonly refer to as the age-out period, one day you're working with a certificated teacher following a detailed individual education plan. And virtually the next day, you've been handed over to a social work system with enormous caseloads and very high turnover rates. And unbelievably, during this same period, so many of the outside community programs serving children with disabilities also seem to have this same age limit hard stop. So in what seemed like a blink of an eye, nothing in her world and our world felt the same. So the one viable option for Maya's sister was to attend the one adult day program shared across our 2 rural counties to participate in the same program that met with many of the same individuals that she had gone to school with since kindergarten. When I visited the program, I couldn't help but get the same queasy sensation in my stomach that I would have when I would enter a nursing home. I was utterly devastated with the prospect of my sister attending a program which to me felt like daycare, each day, every day, with the same individuals, starting at age 22 for the rest of her life. Just imagine, can you imagine being young and 22 and looking out in the rest of your life? Basically, your only prospect is to sit around in a cold and clinical setting. And the true realization that I began to make as I spoke with families of loved ones in similar life stages, both in the US as well as worldwide, is that my sister's story was not the exception, but very much the norm. It seems for the tens of thousands of young adults being mandated out of the public school system each year at this age of 21 or 22, their opportunities and landscape dramatically decrease at the same time in these young adults' lives when they're finally beginning to mature and to gain their stride and to realize that they can and want to be part of the larger community. Now, there was one shining light that remained a constant for Angel and our family during this time, and this was the opportunity to participate in Special Olympics. Founded more than 50 years ago by Eunice Kennedy Shriver, this program welcomes adults of all ages and abilities to participate in a sport each season as long as they have an interest. It's welcoming, it's non-threatening, it's widespread. It was a beautiful way to connect with other families outside of our local area. And while Angel participated for a few years, over time her interests began to wane because sports and athletics is just not her thing. Just like all of us, some of us are really inclined to sports and athletics and others not so much. Angel's passions really lie in the arts. She loves singing, she loves dancing, she loves fine arts, and she loves comedy. She absolutely loves telling jokes to get a laugh out of others, and truly, she's pretty masterful. Indeed, for me, throughout our lives as her sister, this has been a steady source of joy, mixed with a fair dose of terror, because I can honestly say I never know what's going to come out of my sister's mouth. So what do you do when you see the love and light of your life enter a world with no program to cultivate her unique and untapped talents? You create one. In 2009, my beloved colleague, Dr. Pamala Lindsay, and I embraced the spirit of the Special Olympics model with lifelong access without judgment, and we applied this concept to the area of education, specifically higher education for adults who historically haven't had access. At this college, to receive full credit, you need to show up and have a desire to learn. Each class is 1 hour a week, and the premise is you just sign up for the classes that you have interest in. Students range in age from 18 years old to students in their 50s, 60s, 70s, and counting. On the weekly tours, our student ambassador tour guides proudly share that this is their forever school with no tests, no papers, and homework is optional. So back in 2009, we began with 1 musical theater class and 12 adult students. Fast forward to summer-fall semester 2025, we have 271 students with 89 course offerings to choose from each week who are learning in person in Saratoga, California, online across 11 states in the United States, and our first student, Joseph, zooming in from Lagos, Nigeria. So in the beginning, many of the classes really were in the arts, music, dance, theater. But over time, the students and their families asked for more academic classes, such as reading and writing, and mathematics, and science, and history. And about 8 years ago, our leadership team helped us to reframe this from an arts conservatory to a liberal arts model with 10 distinct schools of study, similar to any experience you may have on a campus of higher learning. And who are our teachers and professors? This is my favorite part to share. Many are professionals who've also been marginalized in traditional workforce settings, individuals with non-apparent medical and physical disabilities. Our professor, Michael, took every single community college class he could at his local college, but could never access that associate's degree due to his challenges in math. He ended up for years in a dead-end retail job until he placed himself in a mental health employment referral agency, which placed him at our college, and he's been our director of IT for the last 8 years and absolutely killing it. And then there's our beloved Professor Danny. Danny happens to be a sibling of one of our former students, and many of our professors and staff have loved ones with disabilities. Danny was our former director of School of Communication and now our scheduling manager, and she's absolutely done a beautiful job growing the school. We couldn't have done it without her, and we love her with all our hearts. So at this college, we do have graduation ceremonies with esteemed keynote speakers, but the most liberating and joyful and unique part is that each graduate is welcome to enroll in a new privately accredited diploma or certificate track for as long as they have a desire to continue their learning paths. Recently, workforce and employment opportunities have been added to our docket of offerings to build out freelance, non-routine job opportunities in the areas of marketing and teaching and accessibility support. So the vision is to show how this expanded layer of adaptive collegiate education could be positioned on campuses of higher learning around the world to be as accessible and widespread and non-threatening for education that Special Olympics so effectively provides with sports. This is a higher education revolution model built to last and ready to be replicated worldwide with the right public and private levers to be a force multiplier of optimal impact. So my sister texted me stating she was missing me 555%. This was a bittersweet text to receive because Angel had remained a college student for many years, both in person and online, until her health recently took a steep decline as she celebrated her 52nd birthday. As we move forward, honoring her legacy, I reflect upon all of the voices being amplified at this college. It amplifies the voices of the students with IDD like my sister, who were so eager and hungry to embark on their unique and lifelong learning journeys. It amplifies the voices of the professors and faculty and staff with a multitude of exquisite skills to share who were absolutely thriving in this flexible workforce environment. It amplifies the voices of the parents and care providers who never given up on their adult children, even though the status quo is be silenced by the professionals who proclaim your child will never be able to fill in the blank. As Mrs. Olomo, Joseph's mother, so eloquently shared from Nigeria, education is paramount for us all until our last dying breath. So when you see an adult with IDD in the community, look them in the eye and smile. And perhaps we can all instill a new narrative of engagement. Hey, which college classes are you taking this semester? And how much will this adaptive lifelong learning model benefit you and your loved ones and your community in its full and vibrant operation? I estimate a pretty accurate rate of 555%.